Hello everybody, welcome back to Max Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about the final 3 episodes of Moonknight. Moonknight is over, and I have barely talked about it, so I'm going to be talking about it quite a bit this weekend. I'm going to be ranking all 3 episodes. We have this review, and then I'm going to be doing a podcast with Hobrix, the other YouTube channel, and we're going to be talking about Moonknight. But today we're going to be talking about all 3 Moonknight episodes, episode 5, episode 4, 5, and 6. So let's get talking about it. Okay, so Moonknight, it ended, and I really haven't reviewed it that much, and the first 3 episodes I thought were actually pretty solid. It was highly, is the rest of it going to be as good as these first 3 were? Are they going to be able to pay everything off? And I went in with, I hope this really pays everything off. Did it? We'll talk about that in a bit, but just starting off here, we're going to start with episode 4. Little recap. They found wherever the tomb was supposed to be, and they're going to get the Amit thing, whatever that's holding Amit. And so we start off, and we got this whole thing with Steven and Mark sort of arguing at who's going to be in charge. You have them, Layla, driving them. They finally make it to the tomb, and then they go around, and there's this cool different aspect to it where you have this monster that is gutting people, and that was just so cool to me that they went that dark. They actually showed some stuff. You have this great conversation between Layla and the bad guy, I don't think his name, about her dad and how Mark was there when her dad got killed. Yeah, Arthur Harrow, the villain. I keep forgetting his name. But you have Steven open up the tomb of, I guess it was, I forgot, Alexandra the Great, somebody like that. He opens it up, they find the Amit thing, and then Steven and Mark, they both get shot. And we're almost through this episode. This is just a quick synopsis of it. And then they end up in this, asylum. Crazy stuff is going on. They find each other. And then they're just, boom, Hippopotamus shows up. And that's where this show, I was sort of that's what I needed to happen here. I needed something to happen to just sort of blow my mind again. And it did, and I really enjoy what they did. They had all our characters that we've seen before in this asylum, and then you have, Mark talking to Arthur, but it's not him. It's, a different version of him. It's all in his brain. You have this different tomb where there's some other person. Mark and Steven sort of meet each other, come together, are so happy to see each other, and then they see this just a giant hippo, and the episode ends. So I thought that was a really solid episode. Through there, you got some great themes going on. You got some really just sort of darker MCU stuff. There's just this sense of wow, because they actually killed him off, and it isn't permanent as we see later, but I just really, really, really enjoy what happened here, how it worked out, and it was just something different that really changed everything up and switch things, and it sort of kept me guessing, what's gonna happen next? Before it was pretty simple. We're gonna see some Moon Knight, we're gonna have some action, pretty generic MCU stuff, and then he gets killed, and you're like, what are we doing now? Are we gonna be going around his head? Are we gonna get a bit of backstory? And that was sort of what elevated the entire episode for me, where I'm just like, wow, they actually did it. They actually went fairly far, I'm not expecting them to just blow my mind so much so that they have a multiverse and different characters show up, because it's not really connected to the rest of the MCU. They have you just sort of hooked by the emotions and by these characters that you care about. And that sort of channels very well into episode 5, because this episode is easily the most emotional, where we're going into the backstory of Mark and Steven, and where Steven came from, where did Mark come from, how did this all come out, and we're getting actual answers. And that's what I wanted from the show. I wanted answers, some backstory, because you just jump into it, and it's really great. And so you have Arthur talking to Mark again and Steven, and you just have this sort of sense of they're on a boat and they're trying to get there, they're trying to balance their hearts, and so you got to go into their past. And so we have no Moonknight in this episode 5. It's called The Asylum, and we have the Hippo Goddess, who I had read from a previous book I've been reading. I've read the Kane Chronicles, which are by my favorite author, Rick Riordan, and they're all about Egyptian mythology. He does a bunch of mythology stuff, so I was pretty read up. And we get to see everybody that's Marcus killed, and that his brother accidentally got killed by him, and his mom beat him. And it just gets in that darker side of the MCU, and we get to see how Khonshu took advantage of Mark. And then we sort of get back to these conversations with Arthur and Mark and Steven just talking in this room. It's just so good. And we get to see how Steven was created. And it's emotional. Like, his mom is coming in to beat him, and he turns into Steven, who has no problem. It's just so interesting like that. I just really enjoyed it. And we get the backstory of how Steven was sort of an accident, and then Mark and Steven, how we all got here, where Steven's sort of figuring out how everything's happening is because Mark's mom died. And so you just have this great sense. And then the hearts are split. Steven gets sent into the sands, and Mark is in, like, the place of reeds, I guess, basically heaven for Egyptian mythology. And I thought that was a great way to end the episode. And this episode was easily the most emotional and the most, like, sort of just mind-bending. Like, wow, how are they going to resolve all this in the final episode? And that'll lead us to the final episode, which I had pretty high expectations. I was like, you got to recap all this. You got to get Steven back. You have to get Mark out of, like, the heaven of reeds. You have to take care of this whole Amit thing. You have to take care of all the Khonshu stuff. You have to resolve all this. There's potential for Jake to be there. And then you get to the final episode, and it sort of bummed me. Because even when I was first seeing it, it's the shortest episode. It's only 44 minutes long, and that's including the credits. So it's really not that long. It's the shortest episode. It needed to be the longest episode. So we're getting stuff with Layla. We're seeing what she's doing. So, like, the first 10 to 15 minutes are all Layla, which is just so different and weird. Like, why are we following Layla in Moonknight? And so Khonshu's released, Amit's released, and Mark and Steven get back, and then they get the Moonknight costume. They fly. They're sort of merged with Khonshu, and Layla merges with the hippo. And then Amit starts eating people's souls. Everybody's taking over. And what they did with Arthur Harrow, he was a great villain up to this point. He seriously killed Mark and Steven, which I didn't see coming. What they did with him is they sort of turned him into a little minion for Amit, where he's fine if he has to be sent away, but she's like, no, I'll keep you around. And he sort of just becomes, he's done, basically, from that point on. He has no more cool, slow-talking, very interesting interactions. So it was just sort of frustrating with that. And then they make one of the dumbest mistakes that you could make in this. You have the super fight that's happening, and you have the end of it. Everything's lost. Layla's losing. They're about to be killed. Amit's taking over Khonshu. It's all over, and then you black out, and they're like, "Oh, what happened? It wasn't me. It wasn't me." And we're obvious. It's like another personality. In the comics, it's Drake, which we do see in the post-credit scene, and he just blacks out. Like, seriously, that's what you're gonna do for this? He blacks out, and I understand it sort of contrasts with the weirdness of the show, but that is one of the worst decisions that you can make. You skip the end battle. I think they should have done, they shouldn't have had him black out. We should have taken it from like Layla's perspective and just see this other Moon Knight costume, Mr. Knight costume, some different costume shows up. He beats up everybody, and then they're like, "What was that?" And we would be like, "Who is this guy? What is going on?" But no, we just black out, and it's in a post-credit scene. So they wake up. We have this little final vision with Arthur Harrow. Arthur, they're considering, should we kill him? Should we not kill him? They decide, we're not going to kill him. Khonshu wants them to kill him. They're like, no, we're going to leave him. And so they both wake up. Mark and Steven, they fall on the floor. Show's over. I feel like they should have added like 10 to 20 more minutes just to extend this. Like, we needed that long action sequence with Drake. We needed a bit more resolve for all this. We have the post-credit scene where they pick up Arthur Harrow, and we have Khonshu and Jake, the other version of Mark and Steven, the other one that's inside of them. He is like the worst. He kills Arthur Harrow, which I feel bad. He should have been kept around. It would have been cool to see him in the future. Amit is taken. She's sort of enclosed. She's killed. Well, I don't know if gods can be killed in this show. We'll see. But seems like she's gone for now, and the show sort of ends at that point. So what did I think of this? I thought episodes 4 and 5 were like the peak Moon Knight. Loved them. And then you have episode 6, which I think sort of was a pretty big disappointment. It wasn't horrible, but I wanted it to be the best episode, and unfortunately, Disney Plus, once again with these MCU shows, can't deliver a super amazing finale. WandaVision, I think the worst or second to worst episode was the finale. Loki gave us an amazing finale. What If gave us a great finale. Falcon the Winter Soldier, I don't really remember too much. I thought the finale was good. I don't think it was... It might have been great. I think it was good/great. It wasn't amazing. And then Hawkeye finale, I feel like, was probably towards the lower end. I didn't like it too much. But, just leave your comments down below what you thought of this show. I haven't really heard many reactions. But for me, I'm going to be ranking the episodes tomorrow, I think. And then I have a podcast going on with Hawbricks. I don't know when that will be released, but maybe Saturday, maybe Monday, we'll see. So just leave your comments down below what you thought of this show. I'm very interested to hear what people are thinking. And so, very just different. I think I would give this show, it's sort of frustrating, but I would give it a very, very solid 8.5 out of 10. It might have been a 9, but it sort of didn't stick the landing with everything. So 8.5, not exactly a 9 with everything, how they ended it. I think they should have probably added 3 more episodes. I think all these Disney Plus shows should be longer than they actually are. So that's my thoughts on it. Like, subscribe to Max Reviews. Thank you for watching. I'm Braden. This is Max Reviews. Braden out.